Yo, what is up? I know this isn't really like a travel, tourism kind of YouTube channel, but since I'm here in Vancouver, Canada, I thought I'd just share some of the things that I'm doing. So in today's video, we're gonna check out the Science World here in Vancouver. Just look at it there. It kind of just drew me in by the way it looked. I don't know too much about it. I looked on the website a little bit, but we'll go see. It was $26 for the ticket, and let's see what's in it because it just looks cool. I love science, and let's go check it out. All right, so Science World had a ton of cool things, and if I was a little 12-year-old boy, it would have been a absolute dream, but it was still pretty cool being the age I am now. They had lots of models of dinosaurs, the human body. They had every area of science. So I'm going to start going through this area. They were talking about new technologies emerging, and so this one was talking all about video game development, and so they had different stations where you could mess around with kind of the coding, I guess, of building video games and change the world in front of you, which was super cool. But then after you did this, you'll see in a couple seconds, you were able to walk into like kind of this virtual world. So here's what I'm talking about. Like they had projectors everywhere, and then even on the floor as you walked around, you probably saw at the beginning, there were like little fairies that followed just like that where you were walking. It was crazy. And then they had their whole physics room with augmented reality stuff where you could put these, I don't know, pieces of wood on this little projector thing, and it would give you information about all the science things. And this, oh man, this would have been so cool to bring my younger sister or have just come here when I was super young. So if you have young kids that are just fascinated by science and how things work in the world, bring them here. Like they had this dinosaur animatronic cut in half so you could see how it works. It was amazing. Then they had their optical illusions room, which was super cool. No matter how many times I tried to reach this pumpkin, it is physically, and I mean, yes, by physics, impossible to get. Then they had this weird thing where you could walk in front of it and it would show the heat in your body. Like, pretty amazing science stuff. This was just super cool. Of course, being science, you've got to have one of these things. Don't know what it's called, but you've got to have one. Then they had this just children's fun room, which just had a lot of fun activities that children could interact with, but also be learning lessons about science in the same way. So of course they had a giant one of these things, which was a blast to play with, especially if I would have been like 5. Oh man, that would have been hilarious just to press my entire body against it. Then they had this cool, I don't even know what, but you could see the wavelengths in the guitar strings. And so just seeing how this science works is so cool. They had this huge water run table where kids could play with the balls and watch them go around the stream and make different pathways for them. It was just such a wholesome, friendly environment. Again, with the optical illusions, you could rest your hand inside of this tank of water and it looked like your hand was just coming through a portal on the other side. They had these little games where you could use science to try to win them. So this one you had to try to get the beach ball to go through the hoops while blowing it with a fan. There we go, first try. No, it actually took me a couple. It was actually pretty difficult. Now, I don't know if this was quite part of like the exhibits and stuff, but they had these super cool windows with just the flick of a switch. You could fog them or you could make them clear. So that was super cool. They had this shadow room where you could make a pose, take a flash, and they would save your shadow. Wow, okay, that was super cool. It would have been 10 times cooler if I was an 8-year-old kid. But just the interactivity of all the exhibits, the effort, the science, everything behind it, that was super cool. It reminds me kind of the Children's Museum at Thanksgiving Point in Utah. That's kind of a similar kind of science vibe I got from it. But definitely, I don't feel like I wasted $26. That was definitely well worth it, and I'm glad I went there. So if you're in Vancouver, Canada, if you live here or if you're just on vacation or visiting, check out the Science World, or just Science World, I think is what it's called, in Vancouver, Canada. Thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing and checking out the other videos on my channel.